We're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you. Okay. This is for all candidates. What do we have to do to attract more business to want to come to Wilmington?
What was the question now?
What do we have to do to attract more businesses to want to come to Wilmington?
My first was first.
No, Steve, no.
Okay.
And then just come back this way.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Grab the mic. You got the questions?
Yeah. Let's go look at his notes.
Yeah, yes.
All of them.
So we need to become more welcoming and to new and existing businesses by streamlining the process. Our administration claims that residential and business growth, but they make the process twice as hard as everything is to bring in new businesses.
This has always been a big question. How do we bring business to town? And every mayor's had the same issue. I think we clean the town up, which we've done. The downtown, people involved down there, the owners have really done a great job cleaning that town up. Anybody comes to town, they look at that and say, this is a nice town. And I know that coming up pretty soon, the alderman or city's going to vote on, there's a 1% tax out there for food and on the different items you buy. Well, they're going to vote on that. I think they should get rid of it, eliminate that tax, and also then your businesses could advertise. You know, we took away this tax on all the materials, so whether it be antiques or the stores, and they can push that. Say, well, we dropped this tax on our items, so it's a little cheaper here in Wilmington. Things like that. The city's going to lose a little money, but I think we can absorb that. That's an item there, and again, keeping the town clean like it is. These are the kind of things that attract businesses. They come to town and say, "Well, this is a jumping town. I think I might come here."
Yeah, so attracting business, absolutely. One of the things we recently just did is about 9 months ago, we applied for a grant to help fund a business development strategy, which we were awarded, and that's something that we're absolutely going to do. And that will go out and attract new businesses. That will create a marketing campaign not only for businesses, but also residential construction. Now on top, as Roy said, the downtown is looking great. We've fully funded a facade improvement grant for the last 4 years. We've had 9 businesses invest over $500,000 into that program, of which the city participated our percentage on that. And that directly reflects the downtown. On top of that, continuing to invest in the niceties of downtown to make it look more presentable and welcoming. Yeah.
Okay, this is for Ben. There are buildings on North Water Street that look terrible. How come the city isn't going after certain landlords to get them fixed up? Other landlords are fixing up their buildings. Don't we have an ordinance on it? And if not, why?
So as far as building standards, absolutely we have an ordinance. The second part of that is we want to encourage to work with those business owners, and we are actively working with them to help them find grants and funding that's available. Wilmington's blessed to be on Route 66, and there's a whole plethora of Route 66 business-specific development grants that we've shined some of them too. On top of that, again, the facade improvement grant, we're seeing that take off and continue to work with anyone that's willing to participate in that.
Thank you. Okay, this is for all candidates. Would you consider bringing in more senior citizen housing, places like Stroh Group? Wilmington has a lot of senior citizens.
Yes, I would. And actually, we need an assisted living facility in Wilmington. I know a couple senior citizens have talked to me about that. But again, you can't force them in town. They have to want to come here. And I think if our senior citizen numbers were higher, and they're retired and they usually have money, they spend money. So I think it's a great asset to have in the city. My parents are gone, but I wish they were here, but they're not. If they were, a lot of you have that issue. You have senior parents and stuff, or grandparents, and you wish there was a facility here to take care of them without leaving town. I don't care. My mom was in that nursing home in town, which probably has to be the worst in the damn county, I think. But if anybody's been over there, they know what I'm talking about. But no, I think that'd be a great idea. Bring more.
I would say we definitely need to explore the options for affordable housing and for senior housing. There's no doubt about it.
So if you knew the statistic or not, Wilmington is actually far exceeding the county and the state on the amount of seniors we have. We're over 60%, which is exceptionally high for Will County and pretty high for the state standards. So we absolutely need not just senior housing, but transitional housing for people that want to reduce from their 1,800, 2,000 square foot houses down to something that's more manageable for them. And then even the apartments and all levels of housing we need as much as we can possibly get.
Okay, this is just for Ben. Are there any talks going on for a new gas station or a hotel that might be coming in besides Love's Truck Stop?
Yeah, so again, I mentioned this at the last debate. I'm not a big fan of speculation. So the city's constantly in talks with a whole bunch of different developers and businesses. If you go on the east side of town, and you take 53 out of town, there's a lot of vacant land that's already zoned commercial. If you go on the west side of town, we have the entire logistics park. Inside that logistics park, there's about 60 acres that's designated for commercial development. But again, as I said in the last one, I'm not a fan of speculation. I don't like to say we're gonna get X, Y, and Z, and that doesn't happen. When we look at like the Jewel development, that was 17 years in the making. That's a long way to draw someone out on something. And while you're doing that, you're also preventing other businesses from coming to the table. So I'll just end my answer with that.
Okay, this is for all of you guys. In what ways do you personally support local businesses? Do you buy locally?
I definitely buy local vehicles, wherever I can, at the grocery store.
I think buying local, I think we all agree is very important. In our business, we probably bought 8 different trucks in town. We bought from Lombardi, 5-foot trucks. We bought from Durazio, cars. I personally bought, I think, 3 trucks from Durazio, another couple from Lombardi's. Those are big items, and as you know, Durazio was our biggest tax payer. It still is in town. So. And then I go to Burkhart's. I don't care if there's a new place over in Diamond. I stop there. I always will. And a lot of our senior citizens, same way. They're not going to drive over. Even Diamond's a long ways. They're going to shop in town. So it's so important. And I think you have to set an example. When I drive my vehicle up, they're going to look on there. Well, where do you buy that from? And that's huge. You got as a mayor, you got to buy in town. To me, that's silly not to do that.
Yeah, I would say it's maybe once a month that I leave the city limits. It's kind of a prison sentence being the mayor. You don't like to leave town a whole lot. And it's also a nice opportunity to get out and meet business owners. I will say that I'm also a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Neither one of my opponents are. I've been going to every chamber meetings for the last 6 years since when I was an alderman. Also active with the Downtown Merchants Association. So not only do I believe in the small businesses, but I'm there to support them with you and Steve at every meeting I can.
Okay, this is for Jason and Ben. Okay, you said you resigned as building inspector. Mayor Dietz posted on Facebook he fired you. Which version is the truth?
So Ben and Janine came to me in September of 23. They told me I was a conflict of interest of everything I did and I needed to resign by the end of the month. So at the end of the month, I quit coming in And that was what happened, you know.
Yeah, so I've been on the fence about talking about this a whole lot because it's not something I'm terribly comfortable with, but at the same time, as taxpayers, I feel that you guys have the right to know the ins and outs. It's all public information. I have the personnel file. If you want to see the letter of termination, I brought copies because I knew this was probably going to be asked. But yeah, it's a serious conflict of interest amongst other issues. And I wrote them down so I get kind of specific and give you highlights. If you don't want to read the paper, or if you want to, they're available. Eric, you're more than welcome to a copy as well. So, as Jason said, in September of 23, we did have a meeting with the aldermen. They are the ones who back up all of my decisions, so I don't get the unilateral decision to fire people. It's with the advice and consent of the council, which is how it's supposed to be. So some of those were, we had goals for Jason to get any kind of accreditation or certification to back up that he understood the role of being a building inspector. We gave him 18 months. At no point did he ever pursue that. We were not only willing to give him time off to do it, but pay for it, whatever he wanted. Didn't make any progress on doing anything. We had numerous complaints in the dozens of failing to do timely inspections, return phone calls, return emails from residents on doing inspections. At no point, I believe, that he failed to produce a timesheet for any of his hours worked, ever. The only city employee not to do that. And then the one that really kind of got it to the city council was in my only complaint, resident complaint directly to me about a city employee, was we had a family that reached out that they had tried to contact Jason, because when you're going to build a house, you don't call the mayor, you call the building inspector or the building department. But this family had contacted Jason and they wanted to build a specific house in town. And he told them they can't build what they were looking to build there, but he could build them a house and put them up in his apartment or his rental property while they did that. And for me, that was kind of the point where he lost my trust, and the council agreed and we needed to move in a different way. Pretty straightforward. Now, we gave him the opportunity to resign. As he said, he just stopped coming to work. So at that point, we have no choice. We have buildings that still need to get built and inspected, and so then we fired him.
Okay,
Can I speak on
yeah.
that? Any of you that have had any construction or anything done and you need an inspection, I think our first building inspector was quite a few years ago, and we've had a lot of different ones. And I hired Jason, and he's actually the only person that applied at the time, and he did a good job for me, But you need a local person as inspector. That's my opinion. Any of you have dealt with that? And I think there's a company now that the mayor has hired, and he said, I think Coal City and a couple use it. But I have lately somebody contacted me about they were trying to put a deck up for their handicapped kid, and they got over $6,000 in fees, and I don't know what's that. I don't know if it's I'm not sure what's going on there, but it's one of the things I think we need somebody local. It's not that easy to find, all you know that, but we need somebody local as a building inspector. And again, there's courses you can take to do that. And Chris Smith was my inspector before, did a great job, but he didn't want to do it anymore. So it's tough to find one, and the mayor knows that. Everybody knows that. So I don't blame anybody.
Okay. All right, how do you plan on replacing the lost sales tax when the car dealerships leave? Can the money from gaming revenue be used in its place? All candid.
Yes, I believe that, we don't know when they're going to leave. They actually, Durazio, I thought would be gone by now, built, but they're still there. And I think the issue was the EVs, I believe. They still can't straighten out. We don't know if they're going to be here. Probably not, who knows what, but there's a lot of money involved there. And Ford has, made it difficult for the dealerships. So I think that's a big thing. I think Prince might have come out here lately, so maybe another year or so, but just think about the time I think the money we've kept in town that we shouldn't have got. But I think with the gaming fees and other fees, hopefully it'll make the difference. It'll make it up, and we'll be all right. We'll make it work. But again, Braidwood is by the time they get him, it'll be 20, 30 years. They bought that property for $1 million, whatever, $1.5 million or something, and I'm sure they gave them all kinds of tax benefits. They won't get money. They won't get anything back there for, I don't know, 30 maybe 50 years. So I don't know. I think they made a bad decision. I'm sure that they know that. But and so when you do this stuff, you got to think about, what do I give? What do I get back? And it takes time. And the TIF that I don't know if we're going to talk about the TIF tonight, but that was a bad deal for us. But that's another story. So.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we can really do is look into some type of marketing firm to try to bring businesses to Wilmington to make up for that loss.
Yeah, I mean, part of being the mayor is having good working relationships with our sister communities, Braidwood, Coal City, Diamond, which we do. Like, I talk quite often with Terry and Diamond and Karen in Braidwood, and the Durazio thing, they haven't even broke ground, and that's solidly a 2.5-year build out. And they've already said that they don't even anticipate the likelihood of being open sometime in 2027. So to continue, and if we would have put the effort when I first started, that was a deal that was announced, I think, 2 weeks to the day after I came into office that they were leaving, and they're still in the exact same place doing the exact same thing that they're doing. So, I'm not worried today about what could potentially happen 3 years from now. I'm more worried about how do we grow the businesses that are in here with plans to stay here. I have no doubt on that.
Thank you. Okay, since Route 66 is an historic attraction coming through town, why can't we have everything looking nice? Certain places on Route 66 coming through town look terrible. Can we do anything about it?
I really don't know the answer to that, man.
Again, the city line comes by Burger King. I think as you go south, that's not in the city. So I don't know what city can do about how. I mean, maybe that's what you're talking about, maybe south of town. As far as coming north, I think it's pretty clean. It's cleaned up. It's going to get better, and so I'm sure they're talking about probably south of town, and that's not in the city. And as in Route 66, Old 53, the value keeps going up. And if you have a business on 53, it's like I'd say like a gold mine. And if you can't make it, it's your own fault. And you can't, we have rules and stuff, but you can't force people to do anything. And there's houses on 53 that they're there and they're going to stay there, and you can't say, well, no, you got to get out. I would never do something like that. We want to put a business there. Well, if the money's right, yeah, but our town's been like this for a long time, and I think that maybe just like south of town's not us, and I think that's the issue. But again, every year things clean up. Like I say, and we all know that downtown is getting better and better, and Whole 53 is, because the value goes up. As value goes up, then people put money into it, and that's what's happening in town.
So yeah, I'd say a couple things. So immediately I would say we have a good code enforcement person in place that's actively and aggressively.
Go ahead, answer.
So again, I would say we have a good code enforcement program in place. The one thing I would say is that takes time for two reasons. One, if you're the property owner, you don't want the city or the government coming in and tell you what you have to do and give you exact timelines. We want to work with the people that have those problem properties to find them ways that they can take care of it. The second, I would say that 53 itself, it's going to be totally repaved. So that gives added incentive to those property owners that abut that, whether it's commercial or residential, to improve their property. It's in their own best interest. And yeah.
Do you give them a timeline?
We do. So
What is that?
it varies on what the offenses are. Some of them, like if you look at 218 North Main Street, it's right next to the Mason Hall. It took us 18 months to get that thing demoed. It was abandoned, it had holes in the ceiling. That stuff takes time, and it should. Like, the city shouldn't just be able to come in and demo a house. Like, we have to notice people up. We have to make sure that all of our ducks are in order. And there are other properties that we're going down that road with. I don't, it's not public information, and I don't think it should be. That's between the city and the property owners, because first thing is we want them to better the property. We don't want to just have condemn.
Right. But do we fine?
Absolutely.
Okay, so when it's gone 6 months, a business or residential is continuously not mowing their
Yeah.
lawns, or, because we have neighbors who pay taxes, they know.
Absolutely. So like 218 North Main, like whenever, that lady can't do anything with her property until she makes the city whole.
Okay, thank you.
I think it takes 2 years to condemn something usually.
And I'm not talking about condemning, it's
Yeah.
just making sure businesses don't have gaping holes to the left of their buildings that someone could fall in, but they're not doing anything about it. Or neighbors who take great care of their lots, and you feel like neighbors who never mow. Like, are we giving them a timeline?
Yeah.
Finding them?
Like with mowing's kind of the
I was just
pain in
using
the
that
butt.
as like,
Yeah. Yep.
All right, can the city help the chamber by promoting tourism into the city? You might as well answer that then.
Yeah, so I'll wear two hats on that. So obviously I'm very active with the Chamber of Commerce. I also sit on the board of directors for Heritage Corridor, which is our travel and tourism. They do everything on the first 100 miles of Route 66 from Chicago to Pontiac. We're also responsible for everything west of us to Stark Rock. So we advertise on behalf of the Chamber in the magazines that we distribute. Same with Downtown Merchants. I know for a lot of us, we don't see Route 66 as like some great big thing, but I promise you, for a lot of people, it's their once in a lifetime journey, and they spend a ton of money. So anything we can do to improve our corridor and get them to stay here longer does the businesses better, does the community better, and allows us to continue to invest in the parks and downtown.
Right.
Yeah, the tourism, years ago when the economy was doing good, especially in Europe, you go to the gas station crossing the pad, you'd see those groups come in. They'd be from Germany, and they have all their motorcycles, have all the leather on, and you knew they're from out of country. But that's was all the time. And they always follow with a van, and they'd spend money. They always want to stop at the pad, and then they'd go down. But that would be it. So I think the trick is to get them to stop in town, because Route 66 is what brings people through town. It's not the Giant. The Giant's there. So years ago, they probably still have it. You had a little card, it'd be like your passport, and they'd stop at the pad and they'd stamp their little book, that they stopped at the launching pad. And there's different things all along Route 66, that they stop there and get it stamped, and which is kind of neat. So those are the kind of things that draw the people of town. But to me, the trick is to get them to stay and spend some money. That's the trick, because we're on 66. There's some businesses, Nellie's and a couple there, and a couple across the thing, but there's nothing, on the north side of 53 there. There's not really a place to spend money. So I think that's the trick, is to get them. I like the Giant. I wish the Giant would have been right downtown next to Hayden's. Then they got to park there somewhere. Then they got to walk downtown, maybe, and spend some money. So to me, the trick is retail. So if the people come, you got to get them to stop. You got to get them to spend some money. I think that's what it's all about. And the 53, it's there. It's going to be there all the time. So, and then short story. Years ago, there was one of the companies was doing a clean water across the world, and they were running a van. I think I mentioned this before, and they came through Wilmington 2 a.m. The guys were running, and they looked downtown. What a neat town! And this is 10 years ago. So I think we have a pretty town, a clean town. It's just getting people to stop, and that's the trick. And it's not that easy to do. So we'll just try.
Say supporting our local businesses. That's.
Okay, this is for everybody. Can the city help in getting handicap accessible parking downtown? It's a law in the state of Illinois. Oh, we already had something like that. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, so on top of building a brand new parking lot on North Water Street, sorry Tom, but we're still working on the parking lot at Main Street, and we're going to expand that into the township parking lot. So that will be all fresh asphalt with additional handicap parking. Along with that, on Main Street itself, we're totally reconfiguring the parking. So there's more handicap accessible right next to the sidewalk where it's supposed to be instead of deep in the parking lot. So yeah.
Roy?
Yeah, I think a lot of it, like, it's law. So I know that in front of Nellie's, when they opened up, they come in and say, well, you gotta have 3 spots. I don't know why. They kind of, I don't know if they need 3 handicap spots in front of it, but there's 3 there. And okay, I guess you can't tell them no. You know, a lot of times you go into business, it might be 1. You know, I think there's 1, maybe in front of the gas station across from the pad. There might be, he might have 2 there. There's 2 there in front. But so that's, you know, I think the state comes in and tells you what you got to put. So it's really out of our hands. So, you know, we can't, you know, and I think in handicapped, well, you know, I don't know if they're, well, a lot of places, if you're a veteran, they have spots up front for veterans too. I don't know if we'll do that or not, but that's also an idea because we got a lot of older vets.
So whatever, I mean, obviously, we're building a new parking lot. You know, any new businesses that come in, that would be addressed as needed, but.
Okay.
We can do
All right.
as far as that goes.
City council meetings were previously recorded. Would you consider bringing that back? Get started?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Roy?
Yes, I didn't know, we didn't, I thought they were, for a while, they were on, you know, they taped them. And so, I know that when we have meetings, you know, we have to go in the back and have our meetings are all recorded, you know,
Sure.
of course, that's record. So I don't know what the problem would be. Yeah, tape them, why not?
And
Not opposed to it. I mean, that's up to the council to allocate money in the budget to do that. I know it seems like a trivial thing, but there's good ways to do it and there's bad ways to do it.
if a sewer line from a home to the main line breaks underneath the road, should the entire cost of replacement be on the homeowner?
Repeat the question, please.
If a sewer line from a home to the main line breaks underneath the road, should the entire cost of replacement be on the homeowner?
Yes, I mean, that's what city code says.
Okay.
Of course it shouldn't be. That's one of the things the city gives. I'm gonna make a quick story here. 1940, the Arsenal came, okay? They built North Crest and Brookside, open up. So what happened? The people living there, they planted trees, sugar maples, probably the worst one you could plant. So by the 70s, here the roots came, broke in the clay tile. So we started routing those sewers back in the 70s. You all remember that, right? And so now, and when we started doing it now, you couldn't even put a clean out in. You had to break it open, route it out, patch it back, which was done. But finally said, okay, you got to put a clean out in. So we put the clean outs in. You had to put a Y 6-inch clean out. If we put it in, then the city would route it out. And the reason it should do it because when that was put in, the contractor put it in, right? The city inspected it, so it should have been done right. Now, when you buy a new house today, where do you get the water and sewer from? It comes to the curb. It comes to the curb. Now it's yours. From the curb in is the city's. I think that's pretty black and white. You know, now, and then so every mayor we get a mayor from out of town that move to Wilmington, and they're saying, oh no, or an administrator says, oh no, we can't do that. That's a bunch of crap. You know, whether it's going to spend an hour come out and rot your sewer, is that too much? No, come on. That's I think all of us agree that they should route it out. It's no big deal, but you know, we get a mayor from out of town, and they say, well, an administrator from out of town, they say, well, you know, we can't do that. Like, what do you mean you can't do that?
So I would say you're definitely not. I mean, they should not be liable. Your property starts at the sidewalk. So if it's out in the street, that's the city's property.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask my own follow-up to this?
Go ahead.
So who's gonna pay for all that?
Well, why would the homeowner pay for it if it's not their property?
See,
Who brought it to their property?
The city inspected it.
The city brings theirs to the property line.
Yeah,
End of story.
Yeah, the city
From
inspected
the
it.
property
The
line
city
to the
inspected it.
house
It
is
should
the
have been done
homeowner's
right.
responsibility.
So for every one of those services, it's a $40,000+ repair.
Okay, so what? That should be a homeowner's responsibility? It's not their property.
I'm just saying, if you're a proponent of that, how are you gonna pay for it?
How's the homeowner gonna pay for it?
It's a city. It's part of the city bill. If it breaks, they gotta fix it. It'd be like a storm sewer breaks. Who fixes that? Well, the city fixes it. It's just bad luck, but you can't force that on a homeowner. That's not right.
And a homeowner can barely make ends meet as it is.
It's not like you're doing one every day. You might do one every couple of years, maybe. You know, it's not
We
like
do more than
dug up.
a couple every
And then also, you don't want a homeowner to dig the street up and patch it. They don't know what they're doing, and whoever they get, that's the problem too. You gotta have some. The city's gotta fix that street like it's supposed to be fixed. You know how long you go along there and boom, boom. You know, what the hell is that? You know, the homeowner fixed it. Well, what the heck?
I have no problem with changing the way that is worded, but it needs to be a funded thing and not just
How long
for
has it been?
resident 1 and resident 3.
What about getting new telephone poles in town? They're all leaning and look terrible, like some are ready to fall over. Ben, you wanna take that one?
That's a ComEd issue. We actively work with them on those type of issues to make sure they're addressed, but ultimately, just like Nicor and AT&T, that is their utility. They are responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of it.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I think everybody realizes that that's not our call. That comment that a few years ago, I don't think I was mayor, but out in front of Elm Acres, the big pole there broke, and I could see it swaying. So I called the city, and the young lady who was working there wasn't from Wilmington. I says, you got a pole broke down there. She goes, well, where's Elm Acres? I said, well, it's right down the road, And I says, yeah, but if that broke, half our town would be out of juice, because I think some of our power comes off 102 and some comes from the other direction. You know how it goes. Sometimes half the town's off, sometimes not. But they went out there and put a truck on. They'll grab it with a truck just to support it till they can replace it. But like Ben said, that we don't do poles. That's not our call.
Yes.
He nailed it on the head.
Okay. Okay, all candidates. Can we have the city or state see about putting lights on the big bridge? If we have lights on the small bridge over the mill race, would you be in favor of it? Try to start with you, Jason.
I'd be in favor of it. I mean, I guess I'd look into it. I mean, it's a big bridge.
Right.
Yes, when they did the bridge over the canal, I think deconstruction did that, and we wanted to put lights on there. Now this is how weird it is. We had to get engineered for lights. Well, engineering that was like $100,000 to engineer for lights on the bridge, that little bridge. So whenever a lot of the aldermen would come up with an idea, I said, don't forget engineering. Don't forget engineering on that project. So we'd have to get it engineered, and then is it too much weight? They'll say, well, what's it going to weigh? How much? Now I would think lights don't weigh that much. I think it would be okay, but I think this engineered, it would probably cost, I don't know, maybe couple hundred thousand to do it, and we'd have to pay for it. I know that the bridge over the canal was a little fancier than the one that the state was going to put in, so we had to pay extra for that, and we had to pay extra for a couple turn lanes that weren't part of the when they redid on the corner of 102 and 53. We had the turn lanes. We had to pay extra for that, but it wasn't that much. But it was worth it, of course. Anybody in town knows the turn lanes were. Thank God they put them in. I think we all want to do that, but it would cost. I'm guessing maybe a couple $100,000 to put lights on it.
Ben?
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time I've heard that request specifically, so that's new to me. I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I'm not neutral on it, I guess.
Okay, what specifically is one new policy you want to implement as mayor? Ben? Anything new that you want to do?
No, I mean, I'll defer to them. I am the mayor. If there was a new policy, I would do it today.
Okay, Roy?
Well, of course, new policy. It's an old new policy would be take care of the sewers in town. That would be not to get into again, but that to me is a no-brainer. That should be done. And then also, it's keep working on the canal. Everybody comes to town and says, hey, Wilmington, you got the river, you got the canal, do something with it. I think we need to put more into that to utilize that. And we're talking about tourism. What they want to come town for. And I talked before about putting a walk bridge over behind Lombardi's on the Old County Line Road. And so anything you do, they say, well, you got bike paths. Yeah, we have a bike path here. We can go all the way around Kayla Road, County Road, Kayla Road, come back, around. So anything you add brings more people to town. So if they come to town, they're parked downtown, spend money. Again, retail. We want them to come to town and spend money. So,
Jason?
There again, look for some type of marketing firm to bring in some type of business, commercial growth.
Okay. All right, this is for Roy and Jason. If elected mayor, would you keep the current city administrator or get a new one? Jason?
Not a chance in hell.
Okay, that answers that. Roy?
that's one of the issues where I think most of the people in town are not happy with their administrator. And I was also, a couple of my friends and different people in town talking about a city planner would be pretty good too. I think the short story, Mayor Bob brought our first administrator in, and then we're talking about the 70s, 80s, whatever. And the guy came in, I don't know where he got it from, but he rented from departments. I think Corley owned departments, kitty corner from the launching pad. And then he bought new furniture down at Nelson's, right? Didn't pay for nothing. Didn't left town, didn't pay for the furniture, didn't pay rent, everything. And we had catfish days in the back, is packed. You couldn't even move. Well, we had to get out of his way, had to back up the alley because the gas tank was right there behind the old, where the Historic Society's at. There used to be a gas tank back there the city would fill up. The guy was so bad. But now, they're not all that. We've had good administrators. I've had some good ones. Cheryl was my administrator, did a good job for me. Jack Tyler was administrator, did a good job. So, then the new administration comes in, usually they're gone. No, I would not keep this lady, no.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Go ahead.
So if you're not going to keep the administrator, what's your plan to hire a new one?
We'll figure it out when we get there. I'm not gonna put it out there now.
Now, the mayor's right, it's hard, administrator's hard to get, it's probably one of the hardest items to get. That's why I was thinking about the city planner, I know a couple people in town actually do that. Again, we've had some bad administrators, and any of us been here know that, so it's a tough position to fill, Mayor, you're right about that, I understand that. But if they don't work, they don't work. You got to move on.
Well, it matters greatly. Like, our administrator's got 3 decades of service.
But it doesn't work well with Wilmington.
Doesn't work well with you.
Doesn't work well with anybody. You ask any business in Wilmington, everybody has a complaint against her. We've had 3 chiefs of police. Why have we gone through? Why are we on our 3rd chief of police in the matter of 2 years?
Well, Mr. Arnold is now the chief of police in Shorewood
Yeah, but why'd he leave?
because he got it from
Because of the administration.
Shorewood.
All right, move on.
Okay. This is also for Roy and Jason. If elected mayor, would you look outside of Wilmington for a new building inspector?
I would look for a local building inspector first before.
Could you repeat that, please? They couldn't hear you back there.
If elected mayor, would you look outside of Wilmington for a new building inspector?
I would look for a building inspector inside our city first, and then if that didn't pan out, then obviously I'd look elsewhere.
Roy?
Yeah, well, again, I hired Jason originally, and he was from town here. I had Chris Smith was my building inspector before, which did a great job. And I think he would help me out for a while till we could find somebody. But again, building inspector is a hard one to find too, disqualified. But I'd sure try, and I think Wilmington has somebody that can do that. Because we have so many people in town. You drive around town, all the construction trucks, you see them from every company in the county or all around. So we've got a lot of people that have a lot of experience in town. And so I think we could find somebody. I would try to be somebody from town.
Okay, this is for all of you. Are you involved in any volunteer work in the community, or have you been? If not, why not? Ben, you take that one.
Absolutely. I volunteer for a host of different, everything from Sheriff Fest to stuff with the park districts, catfish days. Volunteer quite often.
Roy?
Yes, I'm a member of the VFW and American Legion. We're really active, or American Legion more than VFW, because we don't have income. We go over to the nursing home and we feed them. We play bingo with them. We go over there and fish with them in summertime. And I try to get more people to go. A couple of my friends are here. They've gone with me. My daughters have gone with me before because they, and we fish. They change their, put the hook, bait on the hook and stuff, and we always feed
The
them.
Veterans Nursing Home in Manteno, right?
Pardon me?
The Veterans?
Yeah.
Nursing Home?
Yeah, the Veterans Home in Manteno. I'm sure you all know that's over there, and it's great. They love it. We come over there. We'll have the last time we played bingo about a month ago. We had probably about 60 people play, and we take $300 over, and so you keep winning. So you win and you get $2, and guys next you get $1, and we'll go through at $300. Then we'll feed them, and then but when we go outside, we'll actually they can have 2 beers. Some can drink, some can't. Then we feed, then we cook out there, and so they love that. Then we bring them to town one time for a cookout at the VFW. Then they have another event that they have where they on the river they get all the pontoon boats and they get a ride to pontoon boats. They love to do that. We had, during the pandemic, of course, we couldn't do it. You know how that goes. But so that's probably the biggest thing. And then we have a golf outing every year. You see us on the corner sometimes, selling the poppies. We'll be down at the stoplight. And then we give. I gave 5 scholarships away last year, American Legion, for the kids, and well, we do. But so that's probably most. I joined the Historic Society lately, so I'm going to those meetings, which I'm glad. I wish I would have done a long time ago, because it's a good organization, for the city. And the biggest thing they got coming up is we're going to be 200 years old. So they're already trying to start planning that, the state of Illinois. So that'll be pretty, I hope I'm around. I think 30, if there's a 33 or 36, whatever, yeah.
Jason?
I am not involved in any of it, no.
Okay. All right, this one is for Jason. I would like to thank Jason for being a home building contractor. It is bringing in more houses to Wilmington. How many new homes are you putting in Water's Edge?
43 total.
Total?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, this for you, Ben. Is there going to be a place for electric bike charging in town?
Our North Water Street has plenty of power to go along with the EV chargers that are there.
Okay. Okay, this is Roy and Jason. If elected, will you keep the current department heads, and if not, why? Jason?
Department heads?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, Roy?
Oh yeah, they're I'm really I've worked with them on projects in town, and they've always been helpful. You can call and they'll come out and take a look at it and help you out. No, I think we've got good department heads. We got good workers in town. They're very good. If you see them work and stuff, and no, I think that they've done well, and there's no reason to get rid of anybody.
Okay. This is to Jason. Ben and Roy have always devoted 25 plus hours weekly. Are you going to be able to give that much time? Which comes first, the city or your business?
Well, of course, my business, but am I gonna be willing to do 25 hours a week? Absolutely.
Are you in favor of extending the TIF for Eliana Properties warehouse?
I'll let one of them start that.
Come on.
I think that's fair.
Right?
Yeah, okay. Again, does everybody understand the TIF? Tax increment financing. And it's new, when they started it, I think it's been there now 12, 13 years, that's about whatever. And when it started out, it wasn't in the city. We annexed it, so the city, we're really not out anything. But it was in the school district. So the school, every time they build a house, the school gets ripped off. And I came to a city hall meeting not too long ago, and they bought a house, finally bought one house. The house was $800,000. And the way the TIF works is, the TIF might be this big, so you might have property where you can't use. But you can take a piece out of there and add a piece over here to it to make that room. And that's what they added the house to there, and they $800,000. They tore the house down, so now it's worth 120. But they're going to add a new building, so it's going to be worth 120 million when they're done. But it's in the TIF, so the school lost that money. So the school lost so much money out. That's who lost all the money out there, the school. And it's not fair. The fire department, they negotiated. They have a good deal. They've done well. The fire department, police department's done pretty good too. But the school, and they're, you know, they probably lose 5 to 8 million a year from out there, and it's unfortunate. But no, I don't. And that, remember now, TIF, you can control it the way you want. What I want to do with the TIF when we started it, and I was in it when we started negotiating, and then I was out. It was a 23-year TIF, and then as it goes in 23 years, you get everything, but we get nothing. So I wanted to go halfway. Say you go 12, 13 years, then it reverses. So now we start getting some money back. By the time it's over, we're getting all of our money back. And so you can develop a TIF any way you want. You can be 10 years, 20 years, 23 years. So the max, I think, is 23 years. And I know I don't want to do is extend that TIF. And I don't think anybody else does either. So I'm totally against that.
Okay.
I definitely wouldn't extend it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, we're approaching the latter stages of the TIF, and we've seen in my 4 years, we've built as much that was out there beforehand. So we've got 5 new buildings that came online in the last 4 years. It's 5 million square feet. We got a new Amazon facility that's coming in. It's 1.6 million square feet. It's going to be the single largest building that's built in Will County in the next 2 years. And I get that, you know, the Amazon, it's not more necessarily, it's not the little guys that come to your house. It's point to point. It's from one Amazon facility to another. So it's just interstate traffic. So it's not going to affect us. It's not a warehouse distribution. It's just a intermodal. But nonetheless, I mean, we went from being roughly 30% built out to now we're 65% built out. So the likelihood of a TIF extension is almost zero at this point.
Okay, here's one for all of you guys. Will the city be in favor of continuing the Facade program across the whole town for all businesses?
I think it should be, definitely. I mean, any business, not just downtown area.
Right?
Yeah, I started that facade program years ago, and then we give up to, I think we had 3 buildings take advantage of it, and we give up to $10,000 if they match it to redo the front of the building. And I think Jeffrey's did 2, and the pizza place, they did theirs, you know. But originally, it was for the older part of town, not the whole town. So that was the idea, but I think it got where any business can actually apply for it. But then I think Ben put some more money back in there because it was out of money. I don't know if Marty did any of the whatever, I don't know, but I know Ben's talking about he put some more money back in there, which I'm glad he did because it's a good program. Again, the downtown looks so nice now, and you know the north end of town, downtown, that was dead end. When I was a kid, there was nothing down there. The Cleaners was down there. There was a liquor store or a bar, and then the corner used to be on the opposite end, and then where the post office used to be a bar there and a warehouse, and so that's all cleaned up with that parking lot now. That part of town is as energetic as the rest of it. So it's so much. I'm so glad of that. So again, maybe that one building for sale. I don't know. The guy wants a lot of money. Put a parking lot in down there, the other end of town, the north end, the south end. The old guy there tearing that down. Actually, need another parking lot down there. Makes a big difference. But
Ben?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We've recently we expanded it from just the B2A zoning, which is Water Street, basically, a year and a half ago to any business in town on whether it's South Water, Baltimore, whatever, to allow them to take advantage of that. We fund it $50,000 a year. That's done through the business license fee that all of the small and medium and large businesses do. We revamped that too, so you know, Tuffy can testify beforehand. The business license used to be you needed one for every game machine you had, pinball, pool table, everything had to have its own individual license. We just said one standard license fee for all the small businesses, and at the same time, we increased the license fee for our big boxes. So like every one of those million square foot buildings, their business license fee is $1,500 a year, and that goes to fund that facade improvement program.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this is Jason and Roy. If elected, what is your plan for the positions, including the building inspector function, that are appointed by the mayor? Jason?
I would look for a local building inspector.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've kind of already answered this pretty good. We appoint the lawyers, the plumbing inspector. I think the plumbing inspector's worked out pretty good. I think you kept him. And so we keep him, and then the building inspector, we talked about, trying to find one, we do our best. Administrator, whatever we do there, that'd be, again, that's a tougher one, but we figured it out. And what else is left there? There's about 3 or 4, but I think everybody else would keep, but.
Okay, this is for you, Ben, pretty much similar. When Jason left as building inspector, you said there would be a search for a local inspector. That never happened. Why are the inspection fees going out of town?
So we did absolutely look. I reached out personally to 3 different people in town to see if they would be interested. They weren't. And as I previously said and Jason said, he left us. He just walked off the job. And when you have residents looking for inspections, I did make the effort to try to find someone local. There are a couple people that were interested, but just not with the time commitment and the availability. And so we had to go and seek someone. And B&F Technical is, they do in all of our sister communities. They offer some benefits to the residents, like online scheduling that we couldn't do beforehand. And they are also the same venue that the fire department uses. So when you're building a new house or you're building commercial or industrial, that takes weeks out of the equation of building because you're not having to send it to plan review with Wilmington and then to the fire department. It's all done under the same roof, which saves them money. So yeah.
Saves who money?
The contractor.
Pretty crazy.
Okay, this is all of you guys. What is your favorite memory of Wilmington in the last 5 years? Jason? Don't have any good memories?
Not offhand. Give me a minute.
Well, we're only going 5 years from now, so don't go back to the 60s. Easy. Nothing? Right?
Probably the football champs, the football games. Following the team, every year it's great. And I think the whole town gets involved in the teams. And so that's probably going on to state for the football games. Our Catfish Day is a lot of fun too, so those are exciting. Mark puts on a good show. So I like the blues, so you like blues, it's a place to go on Sunday.
Ben, got any?
I would probably say the football team too. Getting to bring them to City Hall twice is pretty awesome. Getting to take the cheerleaders and the baseball team as well. It's always a fun time for us to bring them in and recognize them.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? Thank you for showing up. We didn't know how many would come for the second one, but you filled the place. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks to everybody for coming. It's great.
I hope they answered your questions.